You're not saying hi to Pat today?
Yeah.
Giving him your chocolate dark. Give him all the chocolate.
We're gonna go straight to that right now.
Man,
You know? You gotta go through the journey first.
why? That, you're moving that people on with it. You just move on with it. Yeah, okay.
Where is everyone? Could be.
That's the only one who gave it. The brand went to country, that's what they done their own. Oh, we gonna do all three of us there. Then put it in. Okay, so that's fine. That's fine.
Where's our manager?
We'll be right there. Seth's running a little late because he.
Yeah, I heard Seth was running a little late.
Curtis is out today.
Curtis, he did say he wouldn't be here. At least we got a quorum. Just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
hey, you sure?
That's just fine.
Yours is mine.
Man,
Call it onion of the truck now.
you're doing the closed session?
Oh, yeah.
Not question.
Oh, yeah. We have to have it on the agenda. We don't have.
I'm talking about Juneteenth stuff. No,
No, we can't support that.
that's not.
No.
That's something that will work.
Wasn't my idea. Danny asked me, what's she doing now? Just for this meeting. Because if you're up there,
What? What we're gonna talk about this, we had it on
yeah. We're going to, well, I was expecting another one.
Yeah.
We came in on 2 wheels.
I thought you would be late.
Yeah, Helen out too?
I'm on time.
I've been here way too
Have you heard from Quan City? They was running the coolest day.
Yeah.
So we got the board. Yeah. I'm not gonna make a decision tonight anyway, right? Yes. Yeah, but that's, tonight they don't have to sign.
No. That's it.
And it's not public comment.
No public comment, that's public hearing. That's right.
Thinking people get misinterpreted. Like Austin tried.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
it's city business. Everybody here that needs to be. Very nice.
Do you not have yours?
I got it. I got it. I think you gave me one. Did you get it? All right. Give him one. Is that yours? Here it is.
Looks like you got a heavy day. You got a heavy day in court? Yeah, it's long. Bad day. Court night, right. You know that Monday in court.
That's
all. Yeah, this is where you gotta get rid of it. Well, this is the bad news. That's why I have it.
And they got all this candy bar lined up.
Yeah, got your fix.
Ready?
It's interesting that
Good evening, everyone. Today is June 3rd, 1733. We're a few minutes late. We call to order. Public hearing. Hold a public hearing on the received citizen input on the FY 2024-2025 budget. We're gonna start this side, then we're gonna speak. I'm sorry. Ms. Hinman, you wanted to speak first? Please go, sir. There's a mic on the there. Can you please state your name and address?
And there's another mic on the door.
No, let's put that underneath there for us, please. Thank you.
So that's Trey's coming to get it.
Is it on? Did y'all hear me? Thank you very much. My name again is Sue Hinman. I live at 515 Goshen Street, Oxford, North Carolina. Good evening, members of the council and fellow residents of Oxford. I'm speaking here tonight as a concerned citizen of Oxford and not on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners. I stand before you today to advocate for lowering the proposed property taxes from 0.64 cents per hundred to more reasonable rate that is closer to the revenue neutral property rate of 0.3866 per hundred. Currently, Oxford's proposed property tax is 0.64 per hundred, far exceeds the revenue neutral rate of 0.3866 per hundred. That's a 25.34 difference. 25 cents. This will be an increase of $706.74 for me personally. That's just me. In comparison, the Granville County property tax rate stands at 6.631 per hundred and a revenue neutral rate of 5.54 per hundred, a difference of 9.91 cents, 9 cents, 25 cents. This will be an increase of $254.49 in my case, which totals to $961.23, a total increase. This stark difference in county highlights the significant opportunity for Oxford to reevaluate the adjustment of our tax rate to better reflect the financial realities and the burdens faced by our residents. The compound impact of Granville County's property tax rate of 0.631 per hundred and Oxford proposed rate of 6.4 per hundred, which means that our city's residents will be facing a substantial tax burden. The combined rate of $1.27 per hundred places an undue financial strain on household owners, particularly those on fixed incomes, and can deter potential new residents and businesses from choosing Oxford as their home. The combined tax burden can make it difficult for families to make ends meet, potentially leading to financial distress and the reduced quality of life. Adjusting the proposed property tax rate to align more closely to the revenue neutral tax rate is practical and necessary step for Oxford. It will ease the financial burden of our residents and encourage economic growth and ensure that our community remains vibrant and active. Let's take an opportunity to make a positive change for Oxford. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we go to the right?
Now I have to go to the front.
Oh, yeah, I said, you'd like to make a, okay. And the one in the middle here, Mr. Thomas.
Do I have to give my address?
Please.
Larry Thomas, 207 East Front Street, Oxford, North Carolina. I'm here to ask you the same question I asked you about a month ago. Are there any streets being resurfaced in this budget? And if so, are we going to hire our own inspector to do it?
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from this section of the room?
I have a speech, but I did want to address you tonight. I'm trying to figure out how we got here. I've been told that there's a 40% budget deficit. Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie Ramsey, 107 Meadow Heights, Oxford. And if that's correct, I'm wondering how we got to a 40% budget deficit this year. Nobody. I was wondering if the $1.1 million that you increased salaries and benefits last year has impacted this next year? If so, that's reckless spending. It was not budgeted for that year. I think you're accountable to taxpayers. People are suffering. City taxes will go up to $1,300 and some dollars, $1,300. I think mine was $600 or $700. I can't swear to that. But I own two houses and I'm looking at $400,000 increase, a $400,000 change in the reevaluation. So I haven't sat down to figure what the difference is going to be for me, but I can tell you right now, I do not have the funds to be paying that kind of taxes. It's a burden. It's not fair. You sit up here. It's okay. Is it okay? It's not okay. We are being tortured with food prices, interest rate, insurance, you name it. Every tax that they can put on us, they do. It takes critical thinkers to figure out what the problem is. I wish that each of you would determine before the next election what your value is to this board and to the citizens of Oxford. You know, if you have overspent, it's not your money to overspend. There's no reason to be spending if we've got a 40% deficit for basketball courts, parking lots, and theaters. And I believe that you, in the last few months, voted to spend more reserves, if I'm correct. Did any of you know that we were going to have this shortfall? Guess not. Any ideas that you are going to be spending for pool complexes? Are you going to get into the real estate business and purchase land or subsidized housing? Forget it, because it's not going to fly, and people are watching. I guess that's all I have to say, but you must understand what it is doing to people. I can pay. It doesn't mean I won't pay. A lot of people can't pay. What's going to happen? We're going to have foreclosures. These new houses that are coming in, they're subsidizing. They're not paying down payments. And they come in with an amount that they think they're going to have to pay. And when they get these increasing taxes, you're going to see foreclosures. The one other thing I want to talk about is the water. Those people that are coming in, these people that you expect to come in, they're not going to come to Oxford when they see what is available to them with the high tax rate. They're not. I wouldn't. If I lived here, if I wasn't born here, I wouldn't go. So you know that tax rate is going to be figured into their monthly mortgage. They're not going to be paying it. It's not going to be subsidized for them. Again, usually I'm a lot worse than I am now, but I'm trying to be calmer. I'm really upset that the sport is doing what they're doing, and I don't see any concerns about what's happening to people. Anyway, I guess I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Carter, please.
Not really, but I had so much because I thought we would have the budget presented to us tonight. We got a water rate increase and nothing said about it. How much is it? We can get our water sewer rate more.
City manager will do a presentation there.
Okay, can we discuss that after he does that? I mean, when I read the paper, I said, well, it's gotta be a myth. No way tax rate going up 26%. One there, I said, that's, then that's a decimal there, but it didn't. But if we had not had reevaluation, would we be going from 64 cents to 90 cents tax rate? That's what it would be, to be 90 cents. How would be it? I don't know how to look for that. It's not going to impact me, probably not going to impact anybody in this building. But I think if you got some neighbors that it may impact. I think from all the citizens, I used to go to the Citizens in Action meeting, and there was some older ladies there that struggle with it was. I'm sure they're going to struggle even worse. But really, that's about it. So we're here with the water rate's going to be, then we don't know the total impact it's going to be on the citizens' lives. This tax increase is just part of it.
Thank you, sir.
Danny.
Is there anyone here present would like to address the board through this public hearing session? Mr. Taylor, would you like to? Public hearing is not closed.
Click it, right there. Right there.
All right, I'll answer a couple of questions first before doing the rest of the presentation. First of all, there is, although there was a use of fund balance budgeted this year for our current fiscal year, right now we don't anticipate any use of fund balance. So running a 40% deficit, that's not an accurate statement there. So just to clarify that. As far as some of the water rates, we're just going to talk, there's water rate increases across the board, but we're going to talk about 3/4 inch because that's what most people have here. More than 90% of people have it. So for a volume rate, we're looking at inside the city roughly 90-cent change per 1,000 gallons. A base rate of 83 cents for inside the city. Outside the city is going to be more substantial, to 4.26 for base rate change. So anyway, so that's what we're looking at from the water side. All right, to talk about, I was asked to look at some potential reductions in the tax rate. So I'm going to go over what that means. But I would like to also state that the last time there was a tax increase was roughly 2015, so roughly 10 years ago. I would remind everybody since then, as you know, the labor market has become extremely competitive, and to get people to work, if you have a business, you know how hard it is, but we're not immune to that either. And we're also not immune to inflation. Things pre-COVID have doubled and sometimes tripled since then. So we have to pay for those things as well. So having said that, If you want to reduce the rate, then here's some of the things that we'll be looking at. If you want to go to revenue neutral, that represents a $2.5 million reduction in the budget. So that means no purchase of any equipment at all. Eliminate the following new positions. And the reason those positions were put in there is to deal with all the extra work that's coming in, via growth, and some just via that we want to raise the standard. All city development initiatives, anything that might make the town look more attractive, to incentivize business, that pretty much be eliminated as well. No upgrades to the police department headquarters, which you all know needs upgrading. A 5% cut, all department operations across the board. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, there'd be no cost of living adjustment or merit raises for employees, and either a 7% pay cut to all positions or a layoff of approximately 8 to 10 positions. All that takes place to go revenue neutral. And actually that last one will probably go down because the workload that would be put on those that would be here, they'd probably leave. So there's roughly, I think, 30 cities within about an hour from here. So the competition for labor is intense. And not only, and that's just assuming they would work in a municipality, but we have quite a few positions where people would work in the private sector. So we're competing with that. But, all right, let's say we wanted to do a 10-cent reduction. You would make all the new positions except for a project manager and inspector in the engineering department. And the reason for that is you can either pay your own person or you got to pay consultants. You might as well pay your own people. You'd reduce your city development initiatives roughly in half. No upgrades to the police department headquarters or some reduction in capital purchases. There could be a combination thereof. And then a 5% cut to all department operations across the board. And then the last one that doing is you'd eliminate 3 positions in those departments where they come from, reduce city initiatives by nearly $180,000, and then a 2.5% cut to all department operations across the board. So, of course, it's your budget. You can set the rate however you like. If you'd like me to look at a different rate that's here, but I just kind of picked just some common benchmarks for you to understand what that would be. So anyway, just a reminder that you have to have a budget adopted by June 30th. Next meeting, the 11th, is when we plan to have it approved, but you don't have to on the 11th. You just got to have it done by June 30th. So that concludes what I have to say. So now I'll take any questions you got.
So I want to talk about revenue leasing. So it's not as if the situation is as dire when we're talking about eliminating capital expenditures. We would just be replacing that expenditure perhaps with a grant or other appropriation funding if available. So it's not as if that, some of those one-time fixed costs, like we have to buy a new piece of equipment, we have to replace something, upgrade something, we can seek additional funding and dollars to do that, as we've done in the past.
Certainly, you can try to apply for a grant or get some other type of appropriation. That's certainly possible.
I think the only problem with that is it's not guaranteed, is it? It's not guaranteed, and I think we need some hard numbers that we can work with, rather than just, well, we may get this grant or we may not get that grant. I think going to revenue neutral personally is way too much. We just can't afford it. This is my thought. That's a lot.
Isn't a grant writer one of the positions that will be eliminated?
You got revenue neutral.
Okay. So who's gonna write the grants?
We do have grant writing capabilities through the municipalities, through the CAR-TAR Regional Council. That we can leverage today, even without that position currently filled.
No.
I think we should reduce it. I think we should reduce the tax burden. It's just a question of how much. I mean, we can't, there are people that just cannot afford these big raises that will incur. But we've got to balance it, and it's going to be very tricky to balance it. And I think we've got a week or something to try and come up with some more numbers. But that's just my opinion. I think we should reduce it to offset the rise in the property prices or property evaluations. You know. It's a lot of money for some people. It's a lot of money, and unfortunately, it's always the weakest. It seems the wrong word to use, but shall we say the weakest of the community, or those unable to come up with extra income to pay for it, that suffer. And that's why I think we should reduce it, but not to revenue neutral. We just can't go that far. In an ideal world, it'd be lovely, but we just can't go that far. We need to reduce it.
It seems that not so many months ago, we were in here talking about we were not paying our law enforcement officers enough money in order to recruit law enforcement to our police department. And we did some increases so that we would be in a better position to hire. And some of the folks that spoke tonight were some of the big advocates. So you need to pay your police officers more money. You need to do a better job in making sure that they make the kind of salaries so that they will not go to another municipality or leave us. And of course, even with the increases that we did do, we still had some leakage for a while. It is a tough balance to work out. I mean, we have to have protection for our community. We have to have law enforcement officers, and we have to be competitive with our surrounding municipalities. And you know, the biggest advocates for our police and you know, and the need that we make sure that we pay them enough money, you know, what are we gonna do? Back down on that? So that the chief will have even more difficulty in keeping law enforcement officers? I mean, we did increases across the board. And we gave all kinds of incentives to bring officers here. And it seems like it was a few weeks ago, we were talking about part-time positions to sort of help with that problem. I mean, it is a tough balancing act to give the public what they want and being able to pay for it. And so, did you say 2015 was the last tax increase?
think we, as a board, not all of us have been here long, but as a board, I think we've served the public well over the last, since, the last 10 years or so that I've been on the board, and others were on the board. We didn't increase taxes, and we tried to continue to provide services. And then there are folk who want the streets to be smoother. I do also. But that costs money, to fix our streets, to deal with our infrastructure, to make sure we are protected in our communities, to make sure first responders have what they need when a house catches on fire. It is a tough balance, and to try to somehow lay everything at the feet of this board. Just reflect on some of the other meetings you came to, and you were asking us to do some things to improve this community. Yeah, we have a lot of development going on. If anything, we're gonna need more police officers. And so, it's gonna be a balancing act. To try to make sure we have the funds to provide the services that the community demands.
In thinking of the budget, whatever we do, we're impacted also. We as citizens are impacted as also. Commissioner Bridges spoke of public safety, but I'm also thinking about the other employees that we have here.
That's right.
For a time, some of our employees were worked beyond what was required of them because they were doing their job without any assistance or any help. And we have to take in consideration also, we've got employees that are eligible for retirement.
Bingo.
We've got to have someone ready to step into their shoes. So that means that we can't afford to lose our good employees without having someone to take their place. So I don't see us losing because we got great employees now. This budget is going to take some more thinking thoroughly through from the board, and the decision will not be haphazardly made. It will be taken into consideration all aspects of what the citizens are requiring of us and what we as a board can give. Are we going to get to a medium where everybody on the board's happy and everybody in the city's happy?
No.
I doubt it. But we're going to be thoughtful of what we're doing. Not calling any staff out particular. We got staff today, if they wrote their letter saying they're retiring tomorrow, we're standing there. And we don't want that in no department. So we're gonna think it over, think it through.
I'd like to say a couple of years ago before coming on board, agree with Mr. Bridges is completely correct. When we talked about the police, we had standing room only in this board. Not just in this board, down below in the training room, we had the committee meeting, we had standing room only. And if you come on this board and worry about being elected next year, you got a problem. We are here to do a job. If you can't do it, then you have a problem. I cannot look at that staff over there and say, I'm not going to support you. It's different when you're on the outside than when you're on the inside. If you see what they do on a daily basis, you see what they're working at, You see the building they work in that's condemned, that should be shut down. Not just the police department. You got a public works department working a building that needs to be torn down. And we're looking at this board and said, this board did it. You've only been in here for 6 months. So don't come up here and single out this board without knowing what you're talking about. So I say is, we're not gonna make any bad decisions here. And not everybody's gonna like it. I worked one place in my life, in the military. We're told you, when the logo says, the mistake I make today, I'm not worried about it tomorrow. Why? Because I'll be dead. The mistake I make today, I'll worry about it for the rest of my life because I'm planning to live in Oxford. And I walk the streets and I've been talking to every citizen that I hear at all pay levels. And everybody knows what's going on. I got a planning department and I have the engineering department. Go in their office and see what they have to go to on a daily basis. The amount of paperwork they have piled up, the amount of questions they got coming in from development, and they're working hard. You look at the public works department, they're repairing sidewalks and doing things that were not done. I'm not even talking about the police department, what they go to on a daily basis, and the fire department, and Parks and Recs. So I think we need to educate ourselves on what's going on in the city and how taxes, like the Mayor Pro Tem said, we all gonna be paying taxes. It's not that I'm gonna say raise the taxes or leave it normal, but whatever you wanna put it at, I'm not gonna pay it. We all gonna pay it. So we have a decision to make as a board, and we will make it shortly. I mean, manager said we have up to 30 June to do it. And we just gotta sit down as a team and work with it and come to a decision where we all agree on. Not everybody's gonna like it. But we can make that decision, not worried about next year, the year after, if I'm gonna be elected again. Because when you came in this board, when you ran for office, you're not worried about it being elected every 2 or 4 years unless you want to be a career politician. So we have a decision to make. I trust this board I have. I've worked with everybody here. I know their integrity, and I know they definitely want to be responsible for any action we take that can affect the city, to move it forward and be progressive and get the things done. We look at it now, go back and look 10, 20, 30 years ago, and you go in the books and look and you see why are we running like this. It ain't started today, it started years ago. Everybody was kicking the can down the road, nobody wanted to take action. Now is the time this board has to take the decision and show why we're elected, to make the right decision, to support the citizens and support our staff. If we don't support our staff, like Mayor Pro Tem said, I can lose half my police department. I can lose half of the fire department and part of the public works department. So then what we gonna do? Put staff in front of firing squad? No, we need to make a decision. And that's all I have to say. If one of the commissioners want to come in and say something, I think we're making a responsible decision what we're doing.
Since day one that I've come on this board, my intentions have been to try to bring in revenue to the city in a way that it don't really affect us as much, our budget. I want to say I was maybe a month in as a city commissioner. I was already talking to the Secretary of Transportation, brought him to Oxford, been working on stuff. So with hopes that when the budget gets settled in Raleigh, that we'll get the money that we need for our roads and everything. So I don't want nobody to think that we're not behind, the people behind here, that we're not working. We're working, One of the first things that I worked together with the board to do was to pass for that position for the grant writer, try to bring in more federal money for the police department, public safety, different kinds of stuff that we could offset any of our spending. So there's definitely a lot of things that we're working in the background that people don't see to try to bring in more money to try to help out this city. When I was back there as a citizen, I was one of the people fighting for the police raises. I was one of them. Ms. Ramsey, you know that. I mean, you talked the same night, you know. So I came in here with the same intentions to try to do the best that I can for the citizens. You know, my wife is a stay-at-home mom. I'm the revenue that come in that house, so I'm gonna have to take the blow as well. You know, I work a state job. That ain't the top paying salaries. You know, so I just don't want the public to think that we got elected and we're back here and we're not working. We're definitely working. You know, when we got in here, it was a lot. It hit us like a ton of bricks. And, you know, within 6 months, I mean, you can't expect a miracle, but we're working with what we got. And we're going to continue to work for you guys. Just give us time and patience, and let's see how we can get through this together.
I believe there's something to be said for the state that we're currently in, not the city, but just nationally. The effect of rising costs affect everyone, not just the city of Oxford. Citizens up and down the spectrum and up and down the income scale. I do believe that there is a number out there. I've been poring over this, as the manager knows, for quite a while. I think there is a number below the 64 cents that is a good spot for us. Under no circumstances are we going to renege the promises we made towards pay towards our staff. I'll tell you that. We made a promise to you guys a year ago, and we're going to intend to keep that, including the cost of living. It's important. It costs us more to go out and find somebody than it does to retain somebody. Significantly more. So there's a level of creativity that we're going to have to do just because of the circumstances we're in. We didn't put ourselves here, as Quantum said earlier. This is where we find ourselves in this day and age. It's not our fault that the county decided to do the evaluations in the way that they did them. It's not our fault as a board that the state of North Carolina reduced income tax to the point where we can no longer get appropriations like we used to. So we're presented with a new set of challenges that we have never been presented with before. And I can guarantee you that I have the utmost confidence in the members of this board that we're going to rise to the occasion. But certainly I do believe, with respect, that Danny brought up with the water rates, there's ways that we can probably adjust those to make that spread more doable. Discussions that we will have. I think there's a number here that's going to work, and I look forward to working with my colleagues to figure out what that number is. But for the staff, again, understand that we made a promise to you in terms of what we pay and how we're going to manage COVID going forward, and we intend to keep those promises.
Well, I think with that, Mr. Taylor, thank you very much for your presentation. We'll be moving to city business as the agenda should have taken care of today, but we won. Yes, sir.
Danny asked to have his remarks deferred. I'd like to say one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Larry Thomas, 207 Front Street.
Yeah.
There was one thing that I was concerned about what you said. You used to have a heck of a fund balance. You used to have a year's money in reserve. You got people out here building houses, looking at the city. Don't discard taking some of that money to cover it. I mean, you've had too much for a long time. 6 months is plenty. I don't know what you got now, have no clue. But if you got over 6 months, I wouldn't have a bit of a problem in this world if you spend it on some of these things that it needs to be spent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. And now we're gonna move to our agenda. The first thing agenda will be a public hearing. We consider calling for public hearing for a request for a non-contiguous annexation of 65 plus acres located off Highway 15, owned by Evergreen Stone LLC, to be held on July 9th, 2024. A petition for non-contiguous annexation was filed for 65 plus acres located in the Highway 15 South and owned by Evergreen Stone LLC. Staff is recommending calling for public hearing on July 9th. Consider accepting certificate of sufficiency for an annexation of 65 plus acres located on Highway 15 South owned by Evergreen Stone. Staff recommends accepting the city clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the petition. And consider adopting FY24 budget ordinance. Staff recommends adopting the 24-25 budget, as we discussed earlier. Consent items were adopted with a single motion, second, and a vote unless a request for removal from consent agenda is heard from council member. Accept the April 2024 financial report. Have motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Approve the May 6 and May 14 minutes. A motion.
Motion.
Next week.
Oh, next week. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
You're
I'm sorry. I'm just carried away with it.
You good.
We good. The city of Oxford would like to ensure that people with disabilities have the ability to access its meetings, programs, and activities. Should you require assistance to participate in a meeting or city Oxford commissioners meeting, please contact the city clerk at 919-603-1105 or send them born@oxford.org. At least 5 business days ahead of time. Any questions by the board members? You'll start with Commissioner Bellis. Lumpkins. Commissioner McCready is out today. Commissioner Khan. Mr. Toby.
I got no comments. It's just that we're going to try our best to sort this mess out.
Okay.
We will try
Mr.
our
Bridges.
best.
And I don't have any further comments, but I do echo the comments of Commissioner Velez, Commissioner Khan, and others that we will work hard and do the very best we can on this budget.
City Manager, Mr. Taylor.
Just like to remind you, we have Employee of the Quarter recognition tomorrow at 8:30 at Public Works. I would encourage y'all to be there. We got some really good nominees for that award. So you can make it up again.
We'll be there. Mr. Burnett. Thank you, sir. I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.